Good people of YouTube, my name is Spanner. Welcome back to some more Deathgate. Okay, we're in the kitchen with all these elves, so this elf child has a broken doll, so let's give her our doll. The child looks at the toy in your hand and smiles. She throws aside the broken doll as she jumps up, claps, and runs over to grab the better toy. She turns it around in her hands and laughs happily.
You're nice. I like you. You have to meet my friends. Come on, let's go.
She runs outside and beckons you to follow. The cook pulls a tray of sweet cakes from the oven. The aroma makes your mouth water. A loud buzzing draws your attention to a small window. You see a nasty-looking insect about the size of your fist flying into the kitchen, also attracted by the sweet smell. The serving maid screams and puts herself as far from the bug as she can. Only the cook manages to remain calm. As the insect hovers over the cakes, she pulls out an ugly yellow flower from an apron pocket and crushes it in her hand. She unfolds her fingers and the room is suddenly filled with a horrible odor. The odor makes you feel somewhat queasy, but it seems to have a more substantial effect on the insect, which darts back out the window.
It must be bug season again. Those terrible insects are such a bother. Every time I make something sweet, they show up, seemingly out of nowhere. On one occasion, I was actually stung by one of them. I was in bed for a week. These petals should do the trick of keeping them away today, but this is my last plant. I'm going to have to get the children to start harvesting the stinkweed again.
What was that bug?
Their hives appear during every harvest season. The insects that live in them usually leave us alone, unless they are angered, or they smell something sweet. That drives them crazy. I always keep some stinkweed around, just in case.
Why does the flower drive off the insect?
As much as the bugs are drawn to the sweet smells of my cooking, they are repulsed by the smell of stinkweed. Actually, stinkweed isn't all that bad until you crush the petals, but then you'd best be as far away from it as you can get.
Where do you find that yellow plant?
I'm not sure. The plant grows wild in bunches, but it's difficult to find. I have all the children out searching for it, and since I reward their finds with sweets, the plant is in high demand. Whenever it's discovered in the wild, the children return with as much as they can carry. They practically drool over that patch growing on the nearest tree, but no one can get to it.
May I have one of those cakes?
Absolutely not. I'm preparing these cakes for the king's party.
You mean it's going to smell like that in here all day? I think I'm done with this dough, you see? All nice and needed.
Well, you've done a pretty poor job on the dough, but I don't think I'm going to get much better out of you. Leave then. I don't blame you for wanting to get away from the stinkweed.
What about this serving girl? Two engrossing the cook's chatter to pay attention to you. You try pounding on the dough for a while, but that doesn't do very much for its consistency. You're not very good at this. Much like the room itself, the counter looks entirely natural, as if trees naturally grew counters inside their hollow kitchen-shaped spaces. You don't quite understand how an oven, grown into the wooden wall of a tree, isn't a fire hazard. The warmth flowing from it makes the room a little uncomfortable. On a tray inside it you see a pile of golden sweet cakes. Okay, let's go outside.
I didn't think you'd ever get here. Come on, let's go. It's through here.
She wriggles through a clump of bushes to the east. Oh, we unlocked a new area. You come upon a group of children gathered at a ledge. They're calling to someone below. One smaller child is crying. When you glance over the edge, you see a young elf trapped on a lower ledge, trying, without much success, to climb back up.
These are my friends. That doorknob down there is the prince. I guess he finally got up enough courage to go after the golden staff. He's been talking about it long enough. It doesn't look like he made it very far, though.
Oh, he's a prince. Oh, I do have some rope here. The branch you stand on overlooks a kind of pit, ringed with similar trees. Not even sunlight makes it down to the bottom. You have no idea how deep it is, but if it extends all the way to the ground, you imagine that it could go on for miles. You lower one end of the clothesline to the struggling prince. He grabs hold of it gratefully and you haul him up.
Thank you, sir, for coming to my aid. I would have made it out eventually by myself, but your help sped things up quite a bit. I am at your service, sir. Anything I can do for you, I will.
So, why did you climb down there? Not the smartest thing in the world to do.
I know. It's a long story. I was searching for the staff. I figured that I wanted it more than anyone who had gone before me. It turns out that I had much more enthusiasm than ability.
Enthusiasm won't help you climb down a tree that is many miles high.
I found that out. My father forbade me to go after the staff. Too many of my ancestors entered the maw and never returned. I guess he knew what he was talking about.
Staff? What staff?
I guess everyone isn't familiar with the legend.
Oh, I am, actually.
Ages and ages ago, the
Kind of.
gods gave 3 items to the races. To the dwarves, they gave a golden hammer. To the humans, they gave a golden sword. They gave us a golden staff. The items were supposed to symbolize the race's roles in a new, unified society. The dwarves were to be the workers, the builders. That's what the hammer represented. The humans were supposed to be the protectors, hence the sword. We elves were the scholars, the leaders, of course. I guess it didn't quite work out that way. After one of the ancient wars with the humans, my ancestor rebelled against the symbolism of the staff. He cursed the idea of living and working with the other races. So he took the staff and cast it into the maw, never to be seen again. He did it in the heat of anger, and soon regretted it. The staff represented more than the ancient legends. It was also a symbol of leadership. Without it, he chanced losing his power. So my ancestor climbed down into the maw to reclaim the staff. He never returned. Since then, members of the royal family have sought the staff. Every few generations, an elf will climb down into the maw, but not one has ever made it back. We don't even know what's at the bottom. We only know that there is solid ground, and the only way in is straight down. We call it the maw because it swallows up anything that enters it.
How could anything be worth risking your life like that?
Naturally, I wanted to regain the staff for my people. My father would be so proud of me. They would write songs about me. I would have done what all of my ancestors failed to do. Don't you think that's enough?
Not a chance. You've got some other reason, don't you?
You're right. I never really cared about the acclaim. There is another reason. There's a girl. A human girl. I love her.
A human? Won't your father be a bit angry with your choice?
I don't care. At least she's royalty. My father will learn to accept it. He has to.
Who is this girl?
She's beautiful. She's a hunter, she's a musician, she's a leader, she's everything I ever wanted. And not only is she human, but she's a princess as well. And she doesn't even know I exist. Now without the staff, I'll never get a chance.
How would possessing the staff help you to get this girl?
The humans believe that the items from the gods are symbols of rulership. Every human leader since the beginning has carried the golden sword. The current monarch, the princess's father, has been ill for some time. While he's incapacitated, she has accepted the responsibility of rulership. With it, she has taken the sword. She takes her station very seriously, and she'll only consider a suitor of equal status. Because the humans equate rulership with the possession of the godly items, she won't even look in my direction if I don't have the staff.
Where did you meet her?
I met her at one of our gatherings. Lately, she's been coming to hear the wizard speak. I think she's interested in his message of racial harmony. In fact, she'll be coming to a meeting tonight. I was hoping to have the staff by then. Oh well.
I'm very interested in meeting this wizard.
That's all there is to it? You get the staff, and it gets you the girl?
Well, not quite. I have to earn her respect, and I'll never get it without the staff. After that, I'm not sure what to do. I think I have to soften her up somehow. Maybe I need something pretty to give her. Even if I do get in her good graces, I won't know what to say. I always get tongue-tied whenever I talk to her. I just don't know the right words. I think if I had something nice to give her and the right words to say, I'd have a chance.
Let me get this straight. You need the staff, the right words, and a pretty present? Sounds like you've been thinking about this for quite a while.
Forever. I decided that if I couldn't have her, I didn't want to go on living. That's why I tried to get the staff. If I didn't make it, I'd be out of my misery.
Enough about this girl.
All right.
Let's talk about something else.
Certainly.
What is this place?
This is the maw. Called that because anything that goes in gets swallowed up. It's a sheer drop, ringed by trees on all sides. The only way to the bottom is straight down. It's an evil place. I'll never go near it again.
Do you know anything about a big, ancient building? It has a door with 3 symbols on it.
An ancient building. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Perhaps the wizard can help you. He's been around forever.
Have you met this human wizard who supposedly talks to children?
Of course. His name is Zifnab. He's a human, but he's the strangest human I've ever met. Though admittedly, I haven't met all that many. He resembles you somewhat, but in place of your black hair with white tips, he has white hair with black tips.
Oh, Sartan.
Oh, old Zifnab? Sure, known him for years. He's one of my kind.
You say Zifnab is one of your kind? That's strange. He said that he was the last on the planet. Although that doesn't really make any sense either, because there are humans everywhere. Come to think of it, much of what he says doesn't make sense. One thing he's been adamant about is keeping out of the way of the adults. He claims that they'll keep him away from us. Would you do that?
Why would I do that?
The other adults claim that we should stop listening to him, that he's a bad influence. The things he says about racial harmony are compost. I can't believe that. Much of what he says makes sense, at least when he's coherent. You saved my life, but I can't let you near him if you tried to keep him away from us. Would you do that?
Of course not. He sounds harmless enough.
Whew, I'm so glad. I would really like you to meet him. He does the most spectacular tricks. Even when we don't understand half of what he says, he's always entertaining. If you'd like, I can lead you to the meeting place. There's a gathering tonight.
Wait a second. I have a few more questions for you.
Certainly.
You're the Prince of the Elves?
Yes, I am heir to the throne. My father is the ruler of all elves on Pryan. If he knew what I had done, I'd never see the light of outdoors again.
You're at my service, eh?
Yes, sir. I'll do anything within reason. Answer any questions you may have. You look new to this land. I'll be glad to help you out.
Very well. Let's be off. I'll accompany you to this gathering of yours.
Very good. The meeting should be fun, even though I didn't get the staff. Please follow me.
Nothing else I can do here then. I would actually like to use this clothesline on the branch. Oh, I can't. Never mind. As you stroll into the clearing, you notice the children scurrying around, preparing the area. Some gather wood for a fire pit in the center. The remainder relax around the pit on the ground or on a log lying nearby.
He's just upset because his girlfriend is coming and he didn't get the golden staff to impress her.
The prince collapses on the log, looking miserable. Others glare at him as they do their work, but say nothing. The small girl carrying your doll says what we just heard. The elf child ignores you.
Don't worry, it's dead. Not a live bug in it. Lucky for us.
A couple of boys approach the fire pit carrying a cumbersome papery hive between them. They dump it into the hole. When the hive strikes the ground, the crash causes the others to jump back in surprise.
You don't know the half of it. My cousin tried to light one up when live bugs were still using it. You should have seen him afterward. He almost died.
Well, it's better than carting around a bunch of wood. These hives burn better than anything I've ever seen, and they're much lighter. Besides, I've kept my eye on this one for the last week. It's as dead gets.
Can I take this hive? All of the children glare at you until you back away from the hive. The heap of combustibles grows higher as the children pile on the twigs and dead branches.
Hello, good sir.
When is your girl going to show up?
I'm not sure. And she's not my girl.
Do you think your girl would give me her sword if I ask her nicely?
Give you her sword? Never. It's her most valuable possession. She'd die before she gave it to anyone.
Well then, do you think she'd do me a favor if I asked her?
I can't say, but I've never seen her be nice to anyone she didn't know well. If she liked me better, I'd be happy to ask her for you. Maybe someday.
What exactly do you need to court this princess?
First, I need the golden staff of rulership. She'll regard me as an equal if I hold it. But even if I gain her respect with the staff, there's no guarantee she'll like me very much unless I can give her something nice, something as pretty as she is. Then, once she's feeling kindly towards me, I'll need something to keep me from stumbling all over my words. I can never figure out anything to say.
Tell me about this staff.
I've already told you almost everything I know about it, though I know that I'll never again go into the mall after it. Once was enough. And usually more than enough because you're not around to talk about it afterwards.
Tell me about this pretty thing.
I don't know. I need something nice, something pretty, something that girls like. There must be something like that around here somewhere.
Tell me about the right words.
I have trouble enough speaking to her without trying to sound romantic. I know that if I try, I'll end up stumbling all over myself. I need a script of some sort.
A script?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you try roses are red, violets are blue, you're real nice, and I'm stuck on you.
Even I could come up with something better than that.
How long does the gathering go on?
For quite a while. Zifnab sometimes leaves and returns a few times in an evening. We use his comings and goings as an excuse to socialize and play games. We only leave if we start to get really tired.
When is Zifnab going to show up?
Who knows? Zifnab is anything but predictable. He will be here sometime today, but when exactly is anybody's guess.
What is that thing in the fire?
That's the hive of some nasty stinging bugs we have around here. It's completely deserted. Otherwise, we'd be up to our necks in angry flying insects. They don't take well to their homes being lit on fire.
Thanks, Prince. I'll speak with you later.
Sure, I'm not going anywhere.
Does this flower count as a pretty thing?
I can't see how this would help me woo the princess. Thank you anyway, though.
It's more of a plant than a flower. You can't attract the attention of any of the children. They're too busy playing their own games. A child strikes a piece of flint against a flat rock she holds. The sparks fall onto the dried moss and the hive. Immediately the hive explodes into flame and the children applaud. The fire slowly eats away at the papery hive lying in the pit. Some of the children make themselves comfortable around the fire. They begin to chatter excitedly about something. With a pop, a hot ember leaps from the fire and lands nearby. A few children giggle at it, but leave it where it is. Okay, hot, 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 hot. Once you get the comp set to register, you quickly drop the ember back on the ground. So, can I cast cold on the ember? We've never used cold before. You cast the spell on the ember, it sizzles and darkens. Just then, the fire pops and another ember flies out right on top of the Really? You have got to be kidding me. Just when we finally cast cold, it's useless. Oh, you hear some rustling from the bushes. Immediately the children's chatter stops. All eyes turn toward the sounds. A pretty young human woman steps lithely from the branches. She's dressed in hunting leathers, but carries herself regally. A golden sword is strapped to her waist, and a flute is strung around her neck. Oh, that flute! A flute, music, the Titans. It's all coming together. A flute is strung around her neck. She utters no words when she sees everyone looking at her, and instead walks to the log and sits down. She attempts to act unperturbed, though it is obvious that she is uncomfortable with the attention. As soon as the woman arrived, the elven prince became entranced. His mouth dropped open and his eyes followed her every movement. When she sat down, he seemed torn between wanting to speak to her and wanting to run far, far away. Now he appears to have arrived at a compromise, sitting in place and staring at her while she pretends to ignore him. Aha, I scooped the hot ember with the shell. Okay, we got the ember. Let's speak with the human princess.
Even though you look to be human, I don't know you, and I don't speak to people I don't know.
Okay.
Hello, good sir.
So this princess is the girl you're crazy about, huh?
Oh, yes, that's her. I'd give anything just to have a simple conversation with her. On the few occasions she actually listens to me, I stumble over my words until I'm flat on my face. She just gives me that frown of hers and looks away. I'll never get her to take me seriously.
Thanks, Prince. I'll speak with you later.
Sure, I'm not going anywhere.
Well, look, I have a poetry book.
Thank you very much. I still need the Golden Staff of Rulership. She'll only regard me as an equal if I hold it. But even if I gain her respect with the staff, there's no guarantee she'll like me very much unless I can give her something nice, something as pretty as she is. I'm lucky that you gave me this book of love poems. If I ever get that far, at least I'll know what to say.
Do I have something as pretty as she is? I don't think so.
Even though you look to be...
Okay, gold swords. What? The conversation dies suddenly. You look around to determine the cause and notice that everyone is staring at the disc in the ground. It has started to glow and is getting brighter every moment. What disc? A fountain of white fire bursts from the disc. It rises into the air, whipping and spitting about. With a flash, the font disappears, replaced by a somewhat confused-looking man dressed in a long white robe. As he smooths and brushes his garb, you dive behind the bush, out of sight. There is no mistaking it. This man is Sartan, and you don't want to scare him away too soon.
Welcome, my little friends. It's time for the Zipnab show. I hope you're all comfortable. I seem to be without my beautiful assistant. Always liked her outfits, although I couldn't figure out how she kept from catching cold. Well, we'll have to make do without her. I hope you've all been thinking over what we talked about last time. I know you're just dying to philosophize about racial harmony.
Magic, 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 magic.
Hold on there.
Magic, magic, magic.
Whoa! Yes, I know that the races living in conflict is very tragic. That's why we're going to talk about it.
No, we want to see some magic.
Oh, magic! You want to see magic? Let's see. Any of you have a $50 bill? No? How about 100? Put that coin away, son. This trick only works with the high denominations.
Okay, Zipnab removes his battered hat and fingers a hole in the tip. Inspired, he flips it upside down and says...
Hey, Rocky! Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat!
He reaches inside and after rummaging around for a while...
I had a rabbit in my hat. Maybe it was bats in my belfry.
You stare open-mouthed at the outlandish figure. Without question, this Zipnab is a Sartan, but he is nothing like you envisioned. He seems harmless enough, perhaps even a little mad, but you know how powerful the Sartan were. Best just to observe. The purpose of this whole act could be to lull any potential enemies into underestimating him.
Well, let me try a real showstopper. What was that spell? It always gets everyone's attention. Feather fall? No, something else. Direfall. Fireball? Firehole? Wait, it'll come to me.
Fireball? Zipnab stands in place contemplating his spell. The silence lengthens, but the children don't mind. They turn to each other and talk, obviously used to these lapses. Time passes and, in your crouched position, your leg starts to cramp. Involuntarily, you shift your weight. The movement shakes the bush you use as cover and attracts the Sartan's attention.
Is that a new little friend I see back there? Come on up here. Every new friend gets to grab a handful of pennies from the jar. My, you're a tall bugger, aren't you? Wait a moment, you're not a child. In fact, you're not even from Pryan. You're a patron.
The white robe Zifnab wears whips around as he whirls back towards the disc in the ground. Before you can do a thing, he traces a rune construct into the air. The spell floats into the white disc and appears to catch fire. You charge him, but before you reach the disc, he has disappeared to wherever the spell has taken him. I have learned a spell. Which spell have we learned? What's it called and what's it do? Transportation. Requires 2 artifacts called transportation discs. The spell itself does very little, it merely activates the magic already placed within the discs. These discs can instantaneously transport the caster from the location of the first disc to wherever its twin is located. Cool. Okay, so we will follow after Zifnab, but that'll have to wait until next time. For now, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed some more Death Gates, and as usual, don't miss the next episode, because I won't. I will see you all next time.